Hello, this is John Ramsey, and this is my big comeback. I've got some very interesting guests with us today, TC and Savannah Shand, and all of y'all. You got so much going on. Tell me a little bit about what's happening in your world right now. What are y'all involved in?
A lot.
Yeah.
It is a lot. It is a lot. I mean, I know Empire Real Estate is probably keeps your plate full all by itself, and then you added all this other stuff on there. Tell me about what you're involved in.
So we've got Goosehead Insurance. We're partners in that. So we've got the insurance company, and then within the most recent months, we have partnered into C&G Sporting Goods.
I saw that.
We've got that. That takes a lot of time. Then we've got our own personal kind of ventures and investments and other little things we're involved in the business realm of things. And then for me, my primary focus is like Camo Dreams. So it's a
Camo Dreams is a nonprofit that
Yep.
you've got. Tell me what that does, what it's about.
So children with life-threatening illnesses and disabilities, we take them on hunting trips, fishing trips, things like that. Not just here locally. It's stuff that's all over the U.S. Derek also started in 2004, and it's just a big deal that's near and dear to my heart. So
that is fantastic.
That kind of stuff. And outside of that, as much as I can be involved in the community stuff that kind of matters where it comes to getting people to come together for the common, good of things. So, and then all the stuff you've got going on.
Tell me what all you've got going on.
Well, honestly, I'm proud of myself. I dialed back in 2025.
Sometimes you need to.
I really felt like our family needed it, our business, our new businesses needed it. So really, I've just been focused on my real estate career and building the brokerage. I am a part of Women's Council of Realtors, so that's a new thing I added this year. But other than that, I really have.
That's a lot.
I know.
What you're talking about still a lot.
I'm like, well,
if you
I
just said
this
if you just said mom, that's a plate full, and then everything else.
I think that's what I meant by like dial back is like on the business side.
I see that a lot.
Dialed back so I can put more focus.
I see a lot with people when the kids are little. That's a lot. It's a lot. They have a lot of needs, and
it just grows up so fast.
They do.
And so I'm like, wait, no, slow down. I'm gonna slow down. Now it's your turn.
They do grow up. They do grow up fast. And so, let me ask you this: tell me how you all met. Where did you meet at?
How did we meet?
Tell me the love story side of things.
You want my recollection of or yours? Because so
we hope you remember it right.
We kind of knew of each other through mutual friends and stuff like that, and we'd had little contact here and there. And there was a day that I was actually out shooting some clays with some buddies, and she had shown up, and we kind of talked back and forth from there. I think she just liked the way I shoot a shotgun or something.
You
I don't know.
Showed up to shoot?
Absolutely not.
No?
We were cooking, doing a big cook and all that stuff, and shooting and stuff like that, shooting clays, getting ready for dove season. And she had shown up with some of her friends, and we got to talking. And then over the course of time, just talking.
The rest is history.
The rest is history. So.
And were you all already in your line of work when you did that? Were you already in real estate?
She was not yet. I was actually on crutches. Remember, I'd had my big fall.
I remember.
But we'll dive into that a little later. But yeah, I was on crutches, and I was like, man, does this girl feel bad for me or what?
Well, I was in the corporate world before the storm.
Yeah. What were you doing before the storm?
I did business management for a big furniture franchise. And I loved it. I thought I'd been doing it almost 10 years, and I thought, this is my career path. This is what I'm going to do. And then
we were looking at a big building here.
We were looking at buying some real estate to put the commercial business in, and then Hurricane Michael happened.
Changed the world, didn't it?
Changed our whole world.
Yeah, changed my whole world.
I fell
changed
in love with
everybody's world.
Yeah. I mean,
when I told you, I said, I think you should just let that go and come on, let's go.
It was so scary.
It is scary to make big steps.
Like,
yeah. So. But now I'm like, oh, how did I ever do anything else?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's weird. God brings you to those forks in the road where you make a decision, go left or right, and it changes the rest of your life.
It is
100%.
a big. That's everything that we've done has been God calling us in a direction. Some of it's been uncomfortable, and like we'll look at each other, and I'll be like I'm the world's worst for. I always say, I'm go to let it go, give it to God, and then I'll try to reach up and grab the balloon string real quick. And, she's like, don't grab it, just go. I'm like, all right.
So, TC, I've known you since you were a teenager, and I know your dad was in the Navy. Yeah. Well, what about you, Savannah? You're from here?
Born and raised.
Born and raised in Panama City.
I
Great.
Love it.
It's a great place, isn't it?
I love it.
It's a great place. I moved here when I was 12, and we had no family here, but we liked the community, and we just didn't leave. So, do you remember much of the military life? I mean,
oh yeah, big time. It's it was such a big portion of my life. For a lot of years, we moved so frequently and all over the place that it was interesting. I lived in Japan for multiple years. We lived in California, Virginia, South Carolina. I mean, I've been all over. Lived in Jacksonville prior to moving here. I was actually born in Jacksonville. We got here, I think it was a summer prior to 8th grade, and then I'd been here, pretty much since. Outside of, I left halfway through my junior year, finished school in Virginia. The night I graduated, I got in my truck, drove back. I've been back since, outside of traveling for work.
Is your dad retared now?
He is, yes, sir. Yeah, and he's
great.
back here, and mom and all that good stuff.
That's wonderful.
We're here in the one place that, they didn't think they might come back to. They're
well, it's a
here.
great town. And, I find that a lot, with pastoring a church for 35 years. A lot of our people in the community, they retired, and this just became home. They fell in love with Panama City.
It's easy to fall in love with.
Yeah, they bring a lot of people here, and a lot of people stay, and I think it's a good community, and I appreciate that. Tell me about the insurance, the Goosehead. Is it Goosehead?
It's Goosehead Insurance, the Shand Hayworth agency. So there's actually 3 different Goosehead franchises in our area. And honestly, how we got started was a conversation with one of our real estate clients that became a really good friend of ours, and almost like family. And we were having a conversation one day. She was ready to get out of the corporate world and said, one day I wish we could do this. And I said, well, let's do it. And we took off, and that's been, we're in our 4th year with that, I believe. So,
any particular focus on that company, or
a lot of homeowners,
a lot of home insurance?
A lot of homeowners. We do auto, boats, RVs, campers.
Do you really?
Just pretty much anything across the go. Life insurance. Nothing with medical, nothing with the commercial side of things. We kind of dabbled in that a little bit, but it got to a point on the commercial end we couldn't insure the fun stuff. So most of the things my friends are in business with, the dump trucks or the big trucks or equipment, we couldn't really do much with. So we kind of catered more so towards the home and things like that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I know the insurance it can be a complex business. I know Florida is heavily regulated, but I know for a while there it was hard to find insurance. It was a difficulty, and then we went. It seemed like right after, I remember years ago before the storm, I was complaining because the church insurance was $5,000 a year. I would give anything.
Have that now, right?
Can I go back to those days? I think this last year was 45,000 or something like that. It was unbelievable.
It's wild.
And it just kept on going up and up. And I thought, to the point of putting people out of business, because it's like you can't afford to be in business at those kind of numbers. And but that's where we all live now, and it's terrible.
It's wild. And I tell you, the good thing, our business partner, Shelly Hayworth, she's who writes the policies and does that stuff. And she's been in it long enough, in the corporate world, from adjusting to, she's seen every side of it. So she really kind of understands, and she pays attention to financials of the, insurance carriers that we utilize, stuff like that. She's got a big heart and a big passion for the industry itself and for taking care of people. So it's easy to be,
Well, and then, Florida with the whole, the statistic I heard growing up, and I think it's pretty accurate, is about every 20 years you're going to feel the effects of a major storm. Well, Hurricane Opal and Hurricane Michael, 23 years apart. Almost on the money, pretty close to. And so we're 7 years past Hurricane Michael. Another one's coming. I don't, the other statistic that I love is a hurricane has never repeated the same path ever. So the chances of it being exactly how it was, but you look at the difference in Opal and Michael. Completely different kind of damages. Completely. Opal mostly a surf and flood event, and Michael, I think the FEMA person told me, said we've never seen a wind event like this. Never.
I'll never forget.
Never.
That.
The only thing they could compare it to is like the old ones, Andrew and Camille. This was a wind event because they said, for years and years and years, what FEMA's dealing with is flooding damage.
Yep.
And this was not a flooding damage. This was wind like they had never seen. Yeah, so different for our community.
I've been to a bunch of different storms. That's what when I first moved back to Panama City and went to work, I traveled doing hurricane restoration stuff. And I've been, everywhere from Louisiana to Long Beach Island, New Jersey, Miami. I've seen all kind of different impacts of storms, and I've seen some bad stuff, storm surges, things like that, but nothing of the magnitude when it came to wind that what we dealt with at Michael.
Yeah.
and riding that out was, I mean,
You stayed.
we
like
did stay.
everybody in Panama City.
We did. We
I
stayed.
stayed. Everyone I know stayed. We wish we hadn't have.
Well, I think
but,
we thought
know.
it was like a 2.
Yeah, we thought it was
You
going to be
know.
lower.
We got footage of us going down with the MRAPs and all that stuff. We're out the only ones on the road, and it's literally all, you know, heavy armored vehicles and us. And then we got put, and it broke loose.
I forget which one we were in, Ivan or one of them, where there was a lot of spin-ups of tornadoes and stuff. And I remember we lost the sign out of the church, we lost the gutters. And when they're saying a 2, that's what we're thinking. Of course, it changed so quickly, which, you know, taught us a lesson that you don't know how it's going to change. You don't think, we're thinking of coming off the Yucatan to the coast of Florida. It doesn't have time to do much. It doesn't need much time.
Right.
All it needs is warm water. It doesn't need much time. It just needs warm
It
water.
humbled me
Yeah.
on that thought
Yeah.
growing up here. Oh, we get storms all the time, you know? And
We
you
got
know,
to learn a lot
mine-
about each other in that time frame.
yeah.
I mean, that was a
We
big,
did.
big strength in our relationship. We hadn't been together, you know, that long when all that had come along. And I mean, we had each other, and that was it. And we had no choice but to, you
I
know,
lost my house.
you lost your house, and mine took a pile of damage.
Yeah.
And if we'd have stayed at your house versus mine, the tree fell straight through the center of the house.
Of your house?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, big tree landed on our master.
Roof tried to peel
bedroom.
off of mine. I'll never forget that. That was,
So we got to know each other really quick. No power, no water.
2 weeks without power will teach you who the person is.
I think it brought us together. Not
You get to
apart,
see
so.
who they are and learn who they are. This is who you are. Yeah, I know, and you know it was kind of a, you don't know, like I know my on our family property, you know, my mom and dad's house, they and my brothers live there. There's 4 houses. 2 of them totally destroyed, like have to demolish. Two of them not hardly touched.
wow.
So, but it was trees. The 2 that was destroyed was
Yes,
destroyed by
that's-
trees. The 2 that wasn't destroyed didn't have any trees right next to them, so the trees fell, but they missed the house. So, you know, it just you just never know what you're going to get with it, you know. And I know I would not want my family to ride out another one, even though the new church is built like a tank. I mean, it's
Good.
heavier than we've ever seen. It's rated. The new church is actually going to be rated for 175 mile an hour wind, and it is just building upon building. I mean, I'm shocked. Me and the contractor looking at it, and we're saying we've never seen them put this into a building, but it's really, you know, really hurricane strength. But we don't want to test it out.
No.
We won't ever do
want
that
to test
again
it out.
either.
Tell me about CNG, because that is like right up your alley. Because your realtor slogan is sportsman realtor. Did I get that right?
Yeah, so I had started the Sportsman's Realtor back actually with one of my partners who is a real estate broker, Zach Sanchez, who you've also had on the podcast and stuff. And when he opened Think, I had left Caldwell Banker, went there, so I got to know Zach really, really well. We became, you know, pretty close friends. And when the CNG opportunity came up for him to purchase, I had looked at stuff with him, told him I felt like it was a good move. And then here this year, it just hit me one day. I talked to him, and it just kind of was following God's plan more than anything. But I was missing dealing with people.
Yeah.
There was a lot of behind the scenes where I wasn't seeing people every day, speaking to people every day, unless it was a minute group of people because I'm stuck behind the computer. And this has allowed me to get out and share something else I'm passionate about, and it ties into everything. But I've catered to the sportsman's broker, and I guess I can break some ice on something else that I'm doing too with a little bit of that. You'll be the first one that hears it outside her. I'm actually putting together what's called the Sportsman's Group. So I'm taking some like-minded guys and throwing some guys together, and we've got a pretty cool thing that's going to launch in January.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. So what is Sportsman's Group?
So it's going to be people that are going to be kind of like mind, people that like the hunting properties, the waterfront properties. I've got a couple guys that are really big into sport fishing.
Focus on the lodge and retreats and
Stuff like that, or
leases.
you know, even the big homesteads, stuff like that, or the waterfront properties where somebody's got a big sport fishing boat that they want to go sport fish. So I've got a couple guys that are really big into that side of things. I've got a couple guys that are big time duck hunters, and a couple guys that are big deer hunters like me, and
that's fantastic.
thinking about all that stuff, and then guys that just want property to kind of do their own little homestead on. So it's what I built my original business on, and kind of where I think the foundation of it all is there, to kind of run with. So
How do you find the world of retail with CNG and all that? It's a different kind of thing, isn't it?
it's different than the real estate realm, but
Because that whole
my first job was in retail.
the whole online thing, and that's got to be rough. I mean, I actually know some people that are in the music equipment business, And they said, it's how do you compete these days with online, because everybody goes online and buys their stuff. They come into your shop and look at things,
Yep.
and then go home and order it.
I think you've got to be competitive with your pricing, but also I'm one of those, and I'm guilty of buying some things online, but I'd rather talk to you about it in person.
Yeah, I'd rather
I'm
put
still
my
an old
hands
school
on
guy. I
it.
don't like texting. I want to be on the phone. I want us to speak or to speak in person. So for me, I think there's a lot of people that kind of fall into that in the retail world. Is they're putting it in their hands, but if you're $30-$40 more on something, they can get it online, but I can leave with it now, or are they going to pay for that convenience? They understand that,
I like to put my hands on stuff. I like to see how it's made,
Yeah.
see if it's cheap, see the weight of it. I just like that, but it's hard to compete with. It's definitely changed the retail world.
It is, and it's just a lot of fun though, and I think that's what keeps the drive of it. I mean, we've got people that have been there. Sue's been there 21 years. We've got staff that's been there 8-10 years. So it's
That's great.
It's nice to breathe some life back into it with a little bit of a twist and carry on a legacy. I mean, it's 75 years old.
Yeah, I was going to say it's one of the oldest stores in Panama City, I would think. Yeah,
It is.
yeah, that's great.
He's in his element.
He's in his element. I know he is. I know he is. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
Heroes Child is a nonprofit organization that is on a mission to help community heroes with the everyday cost of childcare. We know that heroes like our military personnel, first responders, and foster families need care for their children. Heroes Child awards these families scholarships that go to help pay their childcare tuition. Use the QR code on the screen to donate now or visit heroeschild.org today.
Hey, this is John Ramsey on My Big Comeback. I've got TC and Savannah Shand, and we're talking about retail. We're talking about C&G Sporting Goods. How's it working together with y'all married, business? There's no way to shut it off at 5 o'clock and go home and not think about it. Is that pretty challenging?
It is. To me, it can be, because my brain is always just constantly going. I feel like she's a little better at attempting to shut it off, but also her brain kind of works like mine does, and it's just a consistent thing. Where our, common area that we really can break focus of everything is Mason. I mean, that right there.
He'll get your attention, won't he?
He's our why. I mean, at the end of the day, I tell people I have two whys. I've got my one why of, if I can do it, you can do it, and I want to show you. But my selfish why is everything I do, everything we do is for him. And, if one day when I'm dead and gone, I hope that I've built enough respect, or people that, care about me enough that if I'm dead and gone, they can look at Mason if he's fouling up and say, hey, you're not doing right, bump you around, guide you, and move forward. So spending time with him is literally priority. So I'm not going to miss the game. I'm not going to miss the stuff. Same thing with her. And we try to give him that life experience, or if we have to bring him with us to work, make it where he's fun and it's, he's included in things, and he's really enjoyed the shop. He likes being at the real estate office. He likes the insurance stuff. I mean,
I bet he likes the shop more than the real estate office.
For sure.
Yeah,
He
there's a
likes
lot of
showing
cool.
houses.
There's a lot of cool stuff in
I will
there.
say that he does like to go.
He likes to go show houses, but he does like, if it was office versus shop, then he's going to pick gun shop.
there's a
If
lot
it's
of
showing
neat
a house,
stuff in
sometimes he's like, I think I want to go look at this house over here.
For sure.
So
That's great. So tell me, like, technology wise and new products wise, what have they got going on that's exciting in the sporting industry?
Oh man, so I'm a big Browning guy. I've always been a Browning fan. They just stopped making the Browning Bar MK3, and Browning Bar is one of the most popular rifles that you can get. They've just come out with the MK4, and it's a less than 1 inch MOA is basically what they advertise on that. It's a very accurate semi-automatic hunting rifle. So that's really neat. Lots of new things in the handgun industry, where people are kind of focusing more on recoil, less recoil, things like that, and accuracy with the handgun. So you're seeing a lot of different changes come across there. And then the thermal world. We do a lot of stuff with, thermal. So you get a lot of hog hunters that use thermal at night and different things like that. And we've got some technology in the shop now that actually can pick up heat signatures at 1,800 yards.
Wow.
Or 1,800 meters, I believe is how they advertise. So a little further than that. But that's the tech side of it that's been very, very interesting. everything else along the board of technology is, you still got your standard stuff. You've got ground blinds and stuff. They keep kind of innovating, so it can be, I may be able to see through it. You can't see back into it, so that's kind of a neat tool to utilize.
Almost like the car wraps
Yeah,
thing.
pretty much.
Same
You
kind
remember
of.
the old back window? Well, Dad, when we were in church and all that, Dad had a big old American flag with an eagle on it, and he could see through it, but you couldn't see into the truck.
That's same technology.
So they just found a way to put it on a fabric, I guess.
Yeah.
And,
So Savannah, tell me about women and guns. What do you shoot?
which one?
I'm like, well, he likes to buy things for me.
So say Savannah's going deer hunting. What is she carrying?
Honestly, I leave that up to TC. I say, what are we? Because the collection is large.
Old Trusty.
But you got to have a
Trusty,
flavor.
so no,
What's
I
Old
just
Trusty?
say-
What is Old Trusty?
Old Trusty is a Belgian-made Browning bar. It's a 270 Winchester. It is the ugliest firearm I think that I own. It is my favorite rifle ever.
It is. It's comfortable and homey.
It's got high-rise sights on it. It's got a 40 millimeter Zeiss scope on it, and I'm a 50 millimeter plus guy all day long. I don't like shooting a 40 millimeter, but if it's not broke, don't fix it. I had bought it used probably 10, 12 years ago, and it is the most accurate. I can't get away from it. My buddies joke when we go on a hunting trip, I'll take 3 or 4 rifles, and that's the only one I break out. So you use that.
If it feels good, it feels good.
It feels good. It feels good. And you've got a Tikka, T3X Lite, but you didn't have a great experience with that rifle, so it's accurate.
So how about handguns? You carry handguns?
I do.
Yeah.
He got me with the Glock 380.
You've got the Glock
As a
42.
gift.
You've got a 43X. You've got, I can't tell you what else you've got.
380 is a good sized gun, though. It's
For my
enough to get the
hands
job
and the
done,
power.
and
For sure.
but not super heavy and all.
Yeah, shot placement. I mean, everything honestly is cranking in 9mm. You're seeing a lot of stuff that's going from 45. You still got the old school guys who are like 45 ACP. That's all it is. Like the 40 caliber though, it's faded out so far.
It's a heavy gun.
I don't even think we have a 40 caliber in the store right
Right.
now. If we do, they're typically used. We keep some ammo around. But 9mm and all the technology they've come out with in relation to that, the different types of loads, it's such a versatile caliber that I mean that's the way a lot of people are seeming to go. It's mostly what I carry. I've forever been a 9mm guy.
Put a 9 on my Christmas list.
You did.
I
You want
did.
that Sig Rose to match that Sig Rose rifle that I got you.
I do.
So,
Do you feel like Florida will ever become an open carry state?
so I know that they've stated that now I guess from what I'm understanding is nobody is going to enforce the laws on open carry in Florida. But my understanding beyond that is that there hasn't been anything put in the legislature as far as
Not
guidelines
official
and
yet,
stuff. So it's not really official yet. I see it coming. I mean, we went from state that required concealed weapons permits to carry concealed to now if you can legally own a firearm, you can carry wherever you're allowed to carry, things like that. So I see it being something that's going to wind up being an open carry and just basically be based off of the Second Amendment is how I feel about it.
Yeah, I can see that. Let's talk a little bit about, what shapes you and stuff like that. Who's your inspiration? Who's an inspirational person that affected your life? Because we all have those people that we think this way partly because of that person.
Tough question for me.
If I had to dial it into one person, I'd say my dad. And if you'd asked me that 15 years ago, I wouldn't have said that. But I catch myself a lot of times looking back and going, man, I'm like my dad in that.
Yeah.
And I look at the things that, we ran a very tight ship. Like you mentioned, Dad was military, things like that. And we had kind of our way of doing things. And it was always about respect, and it was always about those things. And I think that helped establish some core values for me that I carry really tight and close today. And, I always watched my dad work his tail off. He was an enlisted guy that went to be an officer. He didn't go to, college and then pop out as an officer. He worked his way up the ranks. And so I always got to watch him kind of work hard and do a lot of things. So he's really kind of my inspiration for, trying to do better. And I've always watched him just try to just be better than he was yesterday and help more people and do more things. And, so he's led by example in a great way there. So I'd say probably my dad.
Are they involved in any of your businesses, your parents?
No, they kind of rock and roll and do their own thing. They come hang out and support.
Enjoying their retirement a little bit.
Dad's
Yeah,
always
that's
in an
good.
Empire hat or a C&G hat or something like that, and Mom will, wear some of the shirts and stuff, just depending on what's going on. They come down and support us and see us and, refer some business our way and stuff, but we just kind of do our thing.
They enjoy being grandparents.
They enjoy being
retired.
grandparents. That's the biggest thing.
Being retired and being grandparents sounds like fun to me. Yeah, that's good. I find that a lot of times, what we find with people, especially with couples, is the challenge of business is one thing, the challenge of family is the other. Especially, and y'all are the third couple that I've had that kind of work together. And when I say things like, "Can you shut it off?" There's always pressing stuff. Business, man, there's always somebody didn't show up. This is due tomorrow. This paperwork need to be filed this day, and then you come home and boom, the child has a need, and it's hard. It's hard to switch gears and stuff like that. I find like that with most parents, it's when you got that corporate job, you can kind of shut it off to an extent. But when you're a business owner, it's totally different because the buck stops with you. Everything comes back to you all. When it comes to crisis time, who is the one's going to handle it? Him or you?
Depends on the crisis.
Depends on the crisis.
It really depends on the crisis because there are multiple businesses. And, I will say that TC does take the brunt of things when it is after hours, so I can.
So you can be mom.
Yeah.
I tell everybody, let me be your bulldog, including her. Just let them. I mean, I try to run everything in a manner that we keep it respectful and we do the things that we need to do. But if anybody's gonna be the bad guy, let it be me. When people are throwing stones, let me step in the way. So I get to kind of eat a little bit of that, but I'm fine being the bad guy if I have to be. Because it's not really being the bad guy; it's protecting your people. So. But I will have to say there are a lot of things that when it gets into some of the people that want to keep you on the phone way longer than problem solution, you take a lot of that on, and you handle that a little better.
I nurture the
than
relationships
what I do.
differently.
Yeah. It's good to have that too. It's good to have people handle things different because different personalities. I don't know how many employees with all of your businesses and stuff you've got, but when you're dealing with a lot of people, there's different personalities that take things different ways, and some people I really appreciate when people can take things direct because I try to tell people when I first know them that sometimes you're going to think I'm rude, but I'm really not rude. I'm just direct.
Yes.
Where I'm just going to say, just do this. Well, you just told me just to do. Like if you're that kind of person that gets upset with me saying that, you're going to get upset before too long because I'm just going to tell you, just do this, because I believe in being direct, and sometimes that comes off as what people call curt, that I'm just, well, you just said it like that. Well, that's what.
Well,
it's time. I'm very. That's why I love text.
Yeah.
I love text because you don't have to say good morning. How are you? How have you been? I can just say, can you do this? Da da da. It's just so direct, and I like that. But some people aren't that way. They want all the pleasantries and all that kind of stuff.
See, I don't even care about the pleasantries, but I want you on the phone. If you text me and it's more than 2 or 3 text messages back and forth, I promise you I'm calling you. I'm not going 5 or 6 texts back. I don't operate that way. But that's also because I overanalyze. If you put it in to text or an email, and I'm like, if you're going to have that tone with me in this, I want you to have it with your voice so I understand where we're at.
I love when people say, well, you said that, and it's a text. I'm thinking, what did I say? It's because they read a tone into my text.
Right.
Where not my text usually doesn't have a tone. I mean, I'm very, very pleasant person.
Yeah.
But sometimes people have said, well, you were kind of curt or you were kind of short about that or like I was just getting to the point. That's all I was doing.
I think that's me though. He'll sometimes go, that could have come off, and because I'm very direct as well, and I'm like, okay, well let me go back and look, but no, I'm honestly the same way, and he'll catch me sometimes saying it kind of came off a little. I'm like, I didn't mean it that way. It just I'm direct.
Didn't mean it that way.
Well,
he'll get that a lot.
Be.
I'm like, no, I'm not at all. Everything's fine.
So.
I think one day I forget who it was I was talking to, and they asked me this big old long text, and I said okay, and then it was the next thing was, I guess that made you mad. I'm thinking, what? Did it make me mad? I said, okay. And I said, I was just in the middle of something, so I answered you, but I didn't give you a long explanation.
I didn't want to leave you on red, so you felt like I was ignoring you.
I said,
so
okay, I was actually busy, And I spent you probably spent a lot of time in your vehicle too. So, I'm using voice text, which I guess I have a voice that my phone has trouble with because it always gets it wrong. And I'm not texting and driving, so I'm talking and driving, and it's dictating, and it just doesn't do well for me. It always gets my words wrong.
I think that has to be everyone. Because mine comes out, and I'm like they'll say, "Are you okay?"
Yeah.
I'm like, oh wow, I didn't realize that it said that.
that didn't matter to anything. So, tell me about your biggest life challenge. What's the biggest thing where was the biggest fork in the road, or the biggest, like, where you had to reevaluate? What's your biggest life challenge?
I would say that there's been multiple, and really, I think that they're going to be close to equal in certain ways. For me, at least, right? When I jump back and I think about it, I mentioned my fall earlier. I had a pretty hefty fall when I first got in the real estate industry. They wanted to cut my leg off from the knee down on my right side. I've got a bunch of metal in it. Told me I would never walk again. And her and I, this had happened prior to her and I, entering into a relationship, things like that. It was to the point that when the storm came, I was not supposed to be weight bearing until March of 19. And the day the storm came, I threw my crutches down. That's a whole lengthy story. But that was very challenging because I had to, in order to be able to walk again and do the things that they said I wasn't going to be able to do. Like, you're not going to be able to hunt. You're not going to do all these things that, I wanted to do. I had to push through that. And there were times even where she'd look at me and say, you don't need to do this, but she knew I was going to fight through whatever to get there. And I threw the crutches down. We went through, and if I'd have laid down, we wouldn't be here. Yeah. Not saying that you couldn't have got us here, but it would change the path because I'd have tried to figure out something else to do. But we stayed kind of persistent, and she helped push me through that. We mentioned Mason earlier, and I know this is kind of a hard, conversation for us to jump into, but a lot of people don't know, or some do. We were actually pregnant with twins. So we lost Mason's twin sister late into the pregnancy, and that was very, very difficult. It was difficult on her, in certain ways, me in certain ways, and then our relationship as a whole, business. You get to a point where you go, why me, God? Why this, why that? And, having to kind of make that peace and work through that.
It's tough.
It was probably one of the hardest things I've done, and it was one of the hardest things I've ever watched her go through, on top of, we went through IVF, we went through all this stuff to be able to have our child, and that was something that really could have, honestly, it probably could have torn the businesses up. It could have torn our relationship apart. We just had to stay strong for one another with that. And it was tough. And both of us, I'm not going to say that it doesn't still have a stinging effect. Yeah. But it was a battle for years, beyond that, to where we had to make the decisions and remember that, hey, we still have Mason, and we've got to, do for him and do for each other and push through that. But that could have probably been one of our biggest setbacks. And there for a little while, honestly, it was. There was times that, you didn't go and do the things you wanted to do. Yeah. And you didn't want to listen to God. You didn't want to take anything. I was angry at him, if I'm being honest, and had to get to that point. And it was probably January, actually, of this year at one point in time. I had worked myself through it. But you remember I came to you and I was telling you about there's a story in the Bible where the disciple's injured, and he's asked Jesus why he doesn't heal him. You heal everybody else, you do this, you do that. And basically Jesus tells him, hey, whose faith stronger, the person who's, been healed and now believes, the person who hasn't been healed and, is sitting here being faithful. And so I got to thinking about that, and it's like, that's part of your testimony. Yeah. So it kind of dives into my why in general on, if I can do the things that I'm doing right now, there's no reason anybody else can't do them. It's how bad do you want it? Can you push through it? Do you have the grit and the willpower to move forward? And, at the end of the day, listening to God kind of pushed us through every bit of it. And,
that whole IVF journey is a tough journey. It really is.
We were going through it in COVID too. That was, golly, we almost got locked in New York. Remember that? They were shutting New York down when we were there.
I will never forget that entire experience. I promise you.
We went through IVF, and we actually came to the point where it wasn't working, and they said, you just need to resign to, things are not gonna. This is not gonna be an avenue you can work with, and basically was told that there's no way you can naturally have a child, and now she's 16, and so there's always a God way. Yep. And that's what thank God for doctors, thank God for knowledge. There's tremendous help in that area. But for us, it had to come another way. Yeah. And you look at the miracle of Mason, who is just a dynamic young man, just wonderful. And we know that there's times where you don't get everything you want, but God knows what he's doing, and we have to trust him. And faith is always on the front side of the answer, not after the answer comes. It's when you don't see it.
100%.
And it's tough. But that's faith, and that's great. Well, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
Are you ready to connect your organization with an audience that is eager for inspiration? The My Big Comeback podcast, hosted by John Ramsey, shares powerful stories of resilience and redemption, featuring guests who have turned life setbacks into major comebacks. New episodes drop the 1st and 15th of every month. For those interested in being a part of this community, sponsorship opportunities are now available. To learn more, contact Meredith Cobb at meredithcobbhwc@gmail.com. Let's make a big comeback together.
Hello, this is John Ramsey. I'm here with TC and Savannah. We was just talking about IVF and the struggles of that. Tell me the highs and lows of that. Tell them the highs and lows of that.
High, obviously, is the end result and having a beautiful son.
Yeah.
Lows, there were a lot.
Yeah.
It's physically draining on your body. It's draining emotionally,
Yeah.
because it's not a perfect process.
No.
And you really do have to leave the science to God, because you could say, okay, this is the perfect formula, to get you to, to have a child, and that doesn't always work that way. It's God's plan. But, not emotional to say, but I almost lost my life.
She did.
Yeah.
Crashed out on me. That was rough.
Yeah. That was a crazy experience. We were in New York and headed to the doctor. I can't remember what we were headed there for, and I had messed up with my medication.
Had a reaction to it?
Yes. And,
she filled up with 3.5 liters.
Were you in New York for IVF, or were you in New York?
Yes, we went to New
You went
York
there.
for treatment.
Okay.
That's where our doctor was, and
They had prepped you. They'd given you all kind of different medicines for different things. I can't remember exactly which portion. We'd gone to New York so many times
it was
for stuff.
For the egg retrieval.
Egg retrieval, that's what it was. And whatever had happened between that appointment, I remember they gave you some medicine. You said you weren't feeling great that night, and on the way to the doctor, you were kind of in and out of it. But actually, when we got back in that room, she started losing color. And I'm looking at her and I'm like, what is wrong with you? Just getting kind of pale. And she closed her eyes and she just kind of went back. And I'm like, holy cow, going for pulse. And it's barely there. I'm grabbing a crash cart and they're looking at me. I'm like, y'all better get in here. She's, and they wound up having to drain a pile of fluid out of you. I thought I was going to lose you that day. That was...
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
When you talk about things that are, like, oh, what shaped you? What's that's one of those moments where you think, okay, I thought I left this all to God.
Yeah.
But no, it was a wake up call of maybe you really need to put a little more faith in this process. And then with Macy, again, I felt like faith was shaken. Like, oh, how did we get this miracle? How did this work? Right? How did this process work and get here? But we grew through it.
I'd say another thing, too, on that shaping question you asked earlier, her, too. If I were to say, Dad was foundation of that, but, through the things that I watch her go through and how she handles things, we go through a lot of things together, but even watch her go through some things separately. It's encouraging on some of my stuff. Because, as a guy, sometimes you don't want to sit there and bury everything on them or put everything on them and show them what you're going through. Yeah. But she's gone through things, and I'm like, if she can rock and roll through that, I can rock and roll, So.
Yeah. That's good. That's great. That's inspiring to other people, and I appreciate you being willing to share with that. Let me talk to you about some of your personal aspirations. Set business on a shelf for just a minute. Give me the top thing on your bucket list. What do you want to do that you hadn't done?
Ooh, there's so much. I tell you so much.
Have you traveled much?
I've done a lot of traveling for work. We've done some traveling, for pleasure, going and doing different things, sightseeing and stuff like that. When we went on our honeymoon, what did we do? 2.5 weeks. We just took off. I said north or south, east or west.
Where'd you
we
go?
Just kind of went. So we started. She said north. We went up 231. Next thing I knew, we were in Atlanta, and then we went from Atlanta to Knoxville. Stayed in Knoxville. Then we went to Nashville. Then we went to Dolly Parton,
Dollywood,
all that stuff, whole area there, and then made a big loop back down through Carolinas and all that stuff. And she says, "Hey, you want to go hunting?" I'm like, "Yeah, right, whatever." She's like, "No, do you want to go hunt?" So we'd spent 4 days in Summerville, South Carolina, and hunted together.
Wow.
I was in a Camaro, no rifle, no.
I was going to say, where did you get the gear?
Called the guy and asked him. Said, "Hey, look, my new wife just said we're on our honeymoon. If you want to hunt, go hunt." He said, I'm full, but because it's your honeymoon, I'll let you come. And I'm like,
You married the
cool.
right person, because not many people would say, do you want to go hunting?
It blew my mind because, I mean, I was focused on wherever she wanted to go, whatever she wanted to do, and she kind of just, we were going to South Carolina to see my grandfather anyway. He couldn't make it to the wedding, so we were making our way down and got to do that, and the guy said, you know, you're coming because it's your honeymoon. Now you're going to tell me you don't have a rifle with you? I'm like, I'm in a Camaro. He said, how are you going to get home? I said, I'll figure it out if I harvest one, which we wound up doing, and that was very interesting with a car full of stuff. And
How'd you get it home?
packed it out as tight as we could in coolers and wrapped antlers and everything else in a bunch of bags, and it was we looked like the Clampets in the Camaro coming
I guess so.
It was interesting.
I guess so.
So, if I were to pick one thing that I want to do, really that I would say is at the top of my bucket list, it really kind of boils back to kind of my why, and it's not necessarily business related. It's that I want to see people do better. I want to see people believe in themselves, and if I could help people do that, I'd feel like I've accomplished something.
Yeah.
You know, it's never been about the money for me, if that makes sense. Like that, we have to eat, we have to do things, and it takes money to grow and do different things. But I always want to see people win. I don't, you know, if you and I are, people ask me all the time about the business side of things between Zach and I, because he's a broker and I'm a broker, and now we're in business together. It's like, if Zach gets a listing, I'm going to try to bring him a buyer and vice versa. Like that's just how things work. So I want to see everybody win.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe one day get in front of a bunch of people and speak and, you know, tell them you can do this.
I think you'd be inspiring to people. I really do.
I
because you know what you're talking about is inspiration, and that's what I tell people at times that's what the ability to create want to in people is what the simplest definition of what inspiration is. And you know, I use the analogy of King David in the Bible. You know, King David wasn't the king. He wasn't even the son of the king. But if you read the Bible, everywhere he went, people were following him. He had the ability to inspire people, and that's the kind of leadership the world wants. Yeah. You know, there's the authoritarian leadership, which is I'm going to make you do this, or I'm going to spank you, do this, I'm going to fire you. You know, it's the threat leadership, which is a poor leader. And then you have the whole manipulative leader, which is do this and I'll do this for you. Do this, it's telling your kid, put on your seatbelt, I'll buy you a Happy Meal. Yeah. You know, and really, you know, the inspirational leader is do this because it's the best thing for you. Yeah. Do this because this is going to make your life better. Yep. Do this because this is going to make your family stronger. That's, you know, inspiring people to do stuff is what we're all trying to do. Yep. And as a pastor, you know, it's not always easy, you know, but I've never been one of these that preaches on fire and brimstone and going to hell every Sunday, because I think it's a poor motivation. I think fear is a poor motivation to people. I think telling people, you know, your walk with God is going to make your life better. That's why you do it. That's why you do it. You do this. You help other people because you helping other people helps you, and it just does. But you know, when people get selfish minded, I'm doing this for the money. If you're doing it for the money, then you're not going to be very good at it. Your life's not going to be really good. You know, you got to find something you love and encourage people to find what they love.
I think anything done out of fear is you miss the purpose.
You miss the purpose.
If you're going to do it out of fear, you're missing the purpose. And fear is what fear is, but I try to live with none of that. And I did live in certain fears of things, but now I just don't. I mean, I've got one fear in my entire life, and I'm not going to put it out there to the whole world, because that'd be the one way.
Fear is the polar opposite of faith. Yep. And you can't faith while you're fearing, and you can't fear while you're faithing. Correct. And so you've got to build your faith and go with that. You know, life has challenges, struggles. There's pitfalls in everyone's life. There's challenges in everyone's lives, and you just have to work through them. You know, surround yourself with people you love and work through it.
Without the tough days, you'd never be able to appreciate the good ones. You wouldn't understand the value or the weight of it. So, you know, Mason, he laughs all the time because I tell him Shands are winners, right?
Yeah. And Shands are winners. I like that one.
All the time.
I love it.
He looks at me, he's like, but we lost. I'm like, but did you learn something?
Yeah.
Yeah, then you won. You won something because now you gain knowledge. You gain something out of it. It's not a complete loss. Yeah. Who cares about the points? Did you gain something from it? You know? So just kind of one of those things where,
I've said that before. People said you lost the church. I said, no, I got a bigger one.
yeah,
I got a bigger one out of the storm. That's just the way it is. What do the Shands do for entertainment? I mean, besides hunting, what do you read? What do you watch? Tell me. Are you watching only sportsman shows on TV?
I don't watch TV.
He
hardly.
doesn't.
You don't watch TV? Good. That's
I
good.
don't.
You read or listen to anything? I mean, I
A bunch of
Audible.
different podcasts.
Podcasts, yeah.
I do a lot of.
What's your favorite
research.
podcast?
Ooh, man, that's tough. I've got a couple of them. I've been caught into the Meat Eater podcast, so that is going to be some of the outdoorsy kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Sean Ryan is one that I've been into a lot because he's very versatile with a lot of the stuff that he's doing. It's not just, law enforcement, government, military related stuff. It's, everything across the board.
Yeah.
I listen to a bunch of that stuff. Like I fall asleep to them. She'll be like, yeah, I had to listen to something.
What about you, Savannah?
Yes.
What do you read or listen to?
So lately, my only time of year I really watch television is when Dancing with the Stars is on.
Dancing with the Stars.
And
I
it
love
just
it.
ended, so now my
Isn't it like the 20th season or something?
Yes.
Who would have thought that would have lasted that
I know,
long?
I know, but that
Yeah.
was my little, what do you call it, guilty pleasure, and now it's over. So back to
The challenge I
That's
have of
right.
that, I'm not a dancer. I never would be. I never even think about it. But the what I see that's kind of neat about that show is when they take people that don't do that and teach them how to do it, because I'm thinking that's got to be challenging.
It is,
If you're not a dancer and you become one, that's
I'd need every
on
coach.
television with the whole world watching. That would be challenging.
yeah,
Mm.
for sure.
Yeah. But you like that, huh?
I did, and then
Yeah.
like I said, now it's
Yeah.
over, and back to
Do you watch a lot of reality TV or just that? Yeah. I guess that would be reality TV, or maybe not.
so,
I don't
'cause
know.
it's
I
like
guess so. Yeah.
celebrities,
It's
maybe.
celebrities. Yeah. Yeah.
We'd watch a little bit of what was that, America's Got Talent or The Voice or something.
I like
that.
some of those shows.
I like music.
Yeah, I like
a
that.
lot.
time.
What
actually.
kind of music do y'all listen to?
Everything.
Tell me,
Everything.
what's your favorite? More of a country, rock, blues,
All of it.
old stuff, new stuff?
All of it. And,
Yeah.
and when I say all of it, it's anything that's got meaning behind it. I'm a lyric guy.
Yeah.
Words matter, very much so.
Yeah.
There's so many different ones.
What about you, Savannah? What's if I get in your car right now, I crank it up, the radio's on, what am I going to hear?
So you'll hear Mason's playlist
Oh,
because he is
Lord.
in control of the radio,
Mason's
and
playlist.
he is
Just
very
part of my
much
playlist.
into Hardy.
Hardy.
Likes
Steve
to
Wilson.
listen- Yeah.
So modern country.
We came across. I had like it on shuffle or something
Yeah.
one day. And an old like Switchfoot song came on or something, and he says that's the wake up song.
The
Mom."
wake up song.
So we'll have a little bit of that, and then our playlist has literally everything.
My
on it.
phone has 5,000 songs on it, and it's everything you can think of.
Yeah.
And Olivia tells me we're riding to school. She said, Dad, I can't listen to your playlist, your shuffle, because you go from this old hokey country music
Yeah.
to like the hardest rock song you ever, and then a Christian worship song mixed in. She said, we're all over the place. And she wants modern country. That's what she listens to, but it's funny. Yeah, mine's all over the place.
He's been on the Grace Like Rain, the Todd
He
Agnew.
loves
one.
that
yeah.
song.
Every
it's
word.
Yeah.
so cute because
Every
he doesn't
word
know
is
them
the
all.
Oh,
cutest thing.
yeah, I love
But
it.
it's the cutest
He'll
thing
fuss
that.
at me because he'll get to singing real loud, and I'll turn the radio
Yeah,
down so I can hear
just to
him,
hear
and he'll
him
be
sing.
like, "Turn it up,
Turn it up, Dad.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
That's great.
he's
And,
so
and
cute.
of course, he's killed his first deer.
He did, yeah.
Yeah, when was that?
That was a couple weeks shy of his 4th birthday.
Oh, wow. Okay, so
Yeah,
last year.
Yep, Derek Fussell kind of helped set that up, and he called me one day. He said, "Hey, let's go up here and
Something
handle
he'll
this, see
never
if we can do
forget.
it." And he won't. He
You'll
is.
never forget that first one.
It's youth weekend coming up too, so he's ready to go.
That's great.
No adults could do anything, but he's ready to. He's like, "I'm going."
Well, let me ask you this last thing. We're talking about the future of Bay County. I see the stuff going on at the beach, all the Top Golf, the Dolly Parton, all that kind of stuff. What does Bay County not have that you would like to see us have? Something that would make you feel like broaden our community a little bit, or make it a little more diverse or more exciting. What are you looking at?
Something for kids.
Yeah.
It's when I was a kid, and it was probably the same thing with you. You go to the mall, and at least there was interaction. You had somewhere that was kind of safe to go. kids were still being
Do
kids.
you all
or
remember
whatever.
Miracle Strip Amusement Park,
Oh,
or was that gone?
absolutely.
Phew, man, I loved it as a kid. It was the greatest
so
thing in the
many
world.
memories.
So many memories there. I hate that it's gone. I really do.
I would love for something like that to be around.
Yeah.
That kids could have an area to go do something, and actually do things. But if you look at back in the day, all the community events that were kid related, fishing tournaments, these things, all that stuff, we've gotten so far away from that as a community that I would love to see some more stuff come back that brought kids together outside of the parades or the this or the that.
Yeah.
Like, let's do something middle of the year that has nothing to do with a holiday to do something. So that's kind of what I think. Something catered towards the youth, you know, kids of all ages, you know, just to kind of
that's good.
rein them in.
Yeah,
That's good.
I'd have to agree because we do, when I'm on like a mom Facebook group, you know, and people say, I'm wanting to start a business. What would we lacking? Same question. And people say something for our kids.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. It's something I always look for. Well, I appreciate what you all are doing in the community, your business wise. And tell me, Camo Dreams again. Is it camodreams.com or how would they find it?
Yeah, so I believe it's camodreams.org. I'll get that with you. But he's got it on Facebook. It's actually Camo Dreams Inc. on Facebook, where you can look up Derek Fussell. But
to help kids have that experience. That's wonderful.
And we've got a lot of great partners too. I mean, there's a bunch of different, you know, local captains that'll get stuff together, and they're donating their time. They're donating the stuff when it comes to that side of things. When we're raising money,
almost like a Make-A-Wish kind of thing.
Pretty much for the kids that want to hunt. And I'll tell you, it's. I mentioned earlier being told I couldn't do something, but hearing these parents be told their child never could do these things, and they, you know, wanted to hunt or wanted to do something, and be able to show their parents, oh yes, they can. Hold on, we've got the equipment, we've got the tools, we have the partners to facilitate that stuff. That's probably the biggest joy I could tell you that I get out of anything.
That's great.
So.
Well, I appreciate everything you're doing. Thank you for coming on and talking with me. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us.